Hi, welcome to a video on text analysis. I will use a case study, rotor blade. In title, add to filter, and I have about 8,254 patents. I could expand this group by actually going to find related terms, rotor blade, and this will bring me all the words that have the same context in the patents like rotor blade. So things like fan blade or turbine blade you could choose from. But I'm happy with 8,000, so I will leave it at rotor blade and immediately go to text analysis. So here on the left you have analysis. You can click on that, you will go into the analysis part of the software. So it will open up. Here we go. So we have text analysis here, and in text analysis you have already some templates like glossary or nouns, problems, trademarks. I open them up, and then you can start to actually customize. Now this is my favorite part. For example, you could say what type of rotor blades are in my patents. By that I mean what adjectives are in front of rotor blade. Here, rotor blade. Or I could even ask, what is this rotor blade doing? And for that, I'm asking for the verbs. Verbs which are in the same sentence of rotor blade. Rotor blade. Okay. I can also look over time. For example, what type of adjectives, so what type of rotor blades appear over time. So I go to time and I ask for a timeline of a text analysis, which in the claims and descriptions gives me the adjectives in front of rotor blade. Already a bit advanced. We enter that, add, and it will make you that graph. Now, apart from text analysis, you also have text pattern analysis. This gives you even more freedom. You could say, I want a text pattern, for example, of all the flexible things in my pattern. So I say flexib star, so any flexible. And then I want a wildcard, which is nouns. So I say noun column star. So all the flexible things in my title, abstract, claims, and description. And there we go. So it really depends on what you want to see. You can basically ask for this visualization. So let's see what's already done. So here we have the nouns, all the main nouns in my patents on rotor blade. So top 50, or I could go to the top 500. These are basically word clouds. The bigger, of course, the more patents talking about, for example, blade or energy or fiber, airfoil, and so on. Yeah, you can of course click on that, and behind that is the actual patents. Trademarks, I'm asking who's talking about which trademark. For example, here Kevlar, or we go to, and you can even see which company, for example, is talking about which trademark. So for that, I can go to compare, and I do, for example, company versus trademark. Do it here, trademarks versus companies, and add that to my search. There is also, in the innovation logic, there is some text analysis that ask for modifiers or values or self. These are also type of templates of certain text analysis. Let's have a look. So in the methodology, self is a very important part. So let's have a look here at self. It will show you basically all the patents that talk about self-locking, self-lubricating. And you have a top 100 here if you want, self-supporting, which is always a good direction to go in. And if you want to see what is going on, what is being increased, decreased, or stabilized, you can see here increasing efficiency, or you could see decreasing load or noise, or stabilizing the blade, the rotor blade, again with the patents behind it. In a similar fashion, we have the value equation. So we say more performance, so performance about strength, performance, thickness. Harm could be about noise, could be about stress. Interface is easy to install, easy to manufacture. And then cost is all the things about efficiency, cost, energy. So you can see basically already all this data in a text analysis that you're looking for. So of course, text analysis goes through everything, so it goes quite slowly. But for example, here are adjectives and type of rotor blades over time is ready. So you can see here all the type of rotor blades here and now here. So you can choose which ones you want to see. Imagine you don't want to see, for example, inventive or effective, but you do want to see adjustable, removable, variable, and you can go through the list, and maybe there are some things that are not shown, like foldable. You can add them and it will add into your visualization, which you can see like this, but also in a bubble chart where you can see over the time, basically, for example, the modular coming in 2007 and then going up, and again, you can click on them if you want to see the patents of 2008 talking about modular rotor blade. Here they are in detail, of course, you go deeper. So it's a bit of a helicopter view on the patents, talking about rotor, but then you can go deep down into the patents to see the actual content of the patent. Let's have a look what else is ready. So we have the adjectives timeline here. The glossary. Glossary is also a text analysis that looks for acronyms. So anything that is like ABS or FRP, fiber reinforced plastics, and the number of patents that talk about that. So it can also be a nice overview of the technologies which are in there, as often technologies are actually, or even materials here like PVC, or actually in acronyms. But if we talk about PVC, we can also actually look at a pattern, because we say most polymers end with -ene, polypropylene. So we could say it's a noun, star, that ends with -ene. And find me those in claims, description, title, and abstract. And it could give you a nice overview of all the polymers. Okay, so other text analysis could be things like what is less, like if you say, or what is it diameter, you could say, well, I want the text pattern. Which diameters do I want? Well, text pattern of diameter of number. We want the number, star, and then the unit, star. So then you get all the diameters in, for example, claims and description. If you do an XY, you could say, I want diameter versus length, for example, fiber length. So again, then you will have been created a own visualization. So it really depends on what you're looking for. Any kind of type of text pattern that you can think of, you can actually put into the visualization. Here we have the adjectives in front of rotor blade, so we could call this types of rotor blade, or type of rotor blades. That, yes, enter, and then you see here, for example, top 50, top 100, top 250, the type of rotor blades that are actually appearing, curved, or, and they say complete I don't want, for example, you can bin it. If you like something, you said, oh, I'm interested in, for example, the curved ones, or the hollow ones, or the modular ones, and again, for example, I could say I can bin the known ones, since we know them, and so on. So you can work with them, and of course, again, if you want to see all the hollow ones, the 45 patents talking about hollow rotor blades, here you go. You have the patent list in detail on that. Yeah. Or even if you want to visualize them with the pictures, you could basically look up all the hollow rotor blades like this. So lots is possible. Also in the templates, we have a problem analysis. It's trying to find what are the main problems discussed in your patents, like cooling is a problem apparently here, cooling and cool. So you could say to cool and to cool in this matter, it's the same. So I can actually drag them together to cool. You can go all the way to 100 and then see, for example, which problems are looked at. Or you could say which company is working on which problem. Often a well-asked question is half an answer, as we say. So you can see what they are working on. So for now, this one is ready. Problems we have looked at, glossary we have looked at. The rest value equation is a bit like modifier. So what it does is basically dividing them into what is the performance, so performance, thickness, vibration, harms, like for example noise, problems, stresses, interface like easy to install, easy to handle, and then cost efficiency, energy, and so on. So it shows you a bit these kind of patterns. You can also add one if you say, I have a problem, for example, with say oil, or let me say oil leakage. Imagine that's a harm, and I'll add it, and it basically will come into the harm here and re-show it with oil leakage if it's there. And let's have a look. Oil leakage here, we found 4 patents that talk about oil leakage. And again, then you can classify basically them that you want. And if you say, actually, this increase attention, disregard, we can disregard that, we can put that in the bin. So this way you can actually exchange with the software until you have your perfect value equation, which you can then share with somebody and then immediately look into, for example, who's talking all about leakage, and click onto it and find the patents behind it. Okay, we did another quite advanced text analysis, which was what are the flexible things in my patent. So what do I get here is flexible coupling, flexible material, flexible blade. So what you see, we've asked for anything that starts with flex and is a noun after, and you get basically all this trend towards more and more flexibility. Again, you can investigate. Finally, let's have a look at some more that are ready. So here we have the self, the type of rotor blades, the flexibles also ready. Here we have the trademarks versus company. So which company is mentioning which trademark? So we have on this side the trademarks, on this side the companies. If you say, for example, you want another one in there, basically you can customize this and say, I also want to see what is in Augusta. So you have Augusta as well. And in the trademarks, you could say, well, I'm, for example, not interested in, say, this Besignung. I click it and my graph will adapt to what I want to see. And if this is a bit of an overlap, you could say, well, I'll move to a heat map, and then you can see it in this kind of way. Yeah, so everything is quite customizable, so you can see exactly what you want to see on the graphs. Give it a bit more time. Trademarks versus company we have done. Any other text analysis we want to see? Of course, domains is also a type of text analysis. Well, basically you go and see in which domains they are, but to find that you could say the nouns in the title, so I can add that and say, are often talking about the domains of application. So if I look at the nouns here that I have, and I say, show me, so I edit this one, and say, here I can edit it, or on there, and I say only title, and I can update it. And again, it will find me all the words, all the nouns that are in the title. Most of it is ready now. Let's have a look at the diameters. So I've asked which diameters are they talking about. So diameter of number and word. So you can see here top 50, but you can basically see here what are all the diameters people are working on. And then we said, well, if we know that ene is often a polymer, we ask for all the nouns that end with ene, and you see they're all kind of polypropylene, styrene, butadiene. Of course, you can bin some, but it's very close to all the. So in chemistry, often you have A's, like for all the amylase or all the enzymes. Plastics is mainly enes. Of course, you also have your map of materials if you want, but that's pre-organized. And then let's have a look at the other one. So the enes we have done, the self. So we've basically covered quite a bit of text analysis. So everything is possible. It really depends on what you want to look for. You can know what you have as a text pattern. You can find out where do you want to see it. Is it in the problem area where the description is, or in the solution area where the claim is? Or do you want it really in the title, so it's the main part of the patent? All depends on what you're looking for. So thank you very much, and please enjoy Patent Inspiration.